His consequence was to be a constant reminder of the effect of sin. God's purpose was to bring man to the need for redemption and restoration of divine fellowship. Even physical death manifests itself in love. God did not want man to live forever in a fallen state. So He placed man in a limited time on this earth. People die physically. Without physical death, man would have no apparent need for accountability to God. This is the good part. In Romans 5:8 we read, "But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." So again, look at the diagram. Another good thing is God is gracious. God is merciful. I have a BFF. Whenever he prays, he starts like this: Merciful Father. Gracious and merciful Heavenly Father. That's how he starts his prayer. God is gracious. God is merciful. God's grace gave us something that we do not deserve. His mercy means that even when we deserve punishment, He does not punish us, but instead withholds our just condemnation. God's mercy runs contrary to His justice. Let's put this in human perspective. I remember a time when I was single, my wife was still single too. We were in the Philippines. I remember the time in the Philippines that my ex-girlfriend, I call her ex-girlfriend because she's not my wife. We were robbed in a jeepney while going home to her place after an evening prayer meeting. Imagine, we came from an evening prayer meeting, going home to her place, we got robbed. The drug-intoxicated robber, he was under the influence of drug. He asked us for our valuables while flashing a knife in front of our faces. Our engagement ring was taken. Our bank passport was taken. He was caught the following day thanks to the cooperation of his neighbors who hated him. Because he's causing disorderly conduct in the community, in his place, in his neighborhood. Being merciful. I would have told the police, right? I would have said to the police authorities, I am merciful. Just release him. Don't file any criminal charge against him. I would just instead get his hands and slap it a couple of times. What is that? Merciful. But was justice served? What about those who did not know that he was apprehended? There's no justice. That's what's happening now in Ferguson and in the city. People they feel cheated. They feel that justice was not served. Now, God's grace and mercy was made possible by His compassion. Michael Ramsted, a contemporary of Rabbi Zacharias, he gave this meaning of compassion. He said, compassion came from the Latin word which has compound meaning. The first one is when a person makes a moral judgment. And the second part is out of the depth of his being, that person who made the moral judgment was moved to do something about it. Example, I work in the city. Sometimes you will find poor people sitting on the ground asking for money, for food. Now, I have compassion when I make a moral judgment by way of saying that he is in need. And I have compassion when I do something about his need. I buy him. Either I give him money or I buy him sandwich and hot drink to go by. Psalms chapter 78, verses 38 and 39 writes this about God's compassion. Yet he, God, being compassionate, atoned for their iniquity and did not destroy them. God restrained his anger often and did not stir up all his wrath. He remembered that they were but flesh, a wind that passes and comes not again. God's compassion made a moral judgment, and out of the depth of his being, he did something about it. God's compassion brings forgiveness. In him, the Bible says, in him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, in accordance with the riches of God's grace. We deserve his grace. We deserve his forgiveness. You know, forgiveness requires something from us before we can be forgiven. We have to do something. We have to admit that we were wrong and that we need the other person's forgiveness. In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, in accordance with the riches of God's grace. Romans chapter 3, verses 24 and 26 gives us the result of God's forgiveness. And all are justified freely by his grace through the redemption that came by Jesus Christ. God presented Christ as a sacrifice of atonement through the shedding of his blood to be received by faith. Remember, for the wages of sin is death, we should be the ones to die. But God presented Christ as a sacrifice of atonement through the shedding of his blood to be received by faith. He did this to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his forbearance he had left the sins committed beforehand unpunished. He did it, God did it to demonstrate his righteousness at the present time, so as to be just and the one who justifies those who have faith in Jesus. See the scale? The right, on your right side, justice, judgment, condemnation. Left of scale, love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, justification. That lady justice, holding the scale. For us humans, it should be balanced, right? But look at the next slide. That is God's scale. Go back to the triangle. Holy, God is holy. God is just. God is love. There's you. There's me. There's us. Go back to the scale, the unbalanced. The left side is heavier, it's weightier. That's how God is. His love is weightier than His justice. His love is heavier than His justice. Almost done. Amen. Allow me to share a secret about my childhood love experiences. There's many. In my high school days, I have a crush from a girl who lives in a house facing ours. She's very pretty. Nice set of teeth, white complexion. She's my crush. I was so shy. I'm a shy person, you know that? Yeah, I'm shy. Especially when I was young. I was so shy to approach and to talk to her that I pretend to borrow his science book and then return it to her with a love letter. That's how I express my love for her. I'm shy. I am already happy seeing her. You know, she lived in front of our house. I'm happy seeing her and knowing that she had read my love letter. I know for a fact that she has read it because she gave it to his boyfriend. So when I saw her dating the other neighbor, I had to stop loving her. That's not loving. She loved the neighbor, not me. I had to find another girl who will love me in return, who will give back and reciprocate my love. The sad thing is, when I was younger, that was a vicious cycle of my younger life. I keep finding a girl who will love me back. Pity me. But I am blessed that God gave me my wife, Grace. Incidentally, Grace, my wife, my ex-girlfriend, she was born October 10th, same birthday as my neighbor. Well, our neighbor, not me. She's also October 10th, but my wife is the same year as me. My neighbor is 2 years older than me. That's the blessing. Now, does God want us to reciprocate His love? I leave that answer to you. But as a challenge, let me tell you these two stories. Imagine a lake, and in the middle of the lake, near the pier, in the middle of the lake, there was a person drowning. So you came to that person. You paddle a boat to reach that drowning person, trying to save her. Come on, reach my hand. I will save you. I will save you. I want you to live. Reach my hand. And imagine that person will push away your hand and tell you something like this: no, I don't need your help. I could do this on my own. I could live. I could manage don't need your help. He refused your offer of life. That's the first story. I believe that there are people here today with that same kind of thinking. You don't need God. Okay? Now, to us believers, I'd like to share you the story of Isaiah. This is, again, a story I heard from Michael Bromston. When he was in the Middle East, there's this guy, I think the country is Iran or Iraq, I'm not sure. He was telling this story about Elias and his wife who went to a gas station. He'll have their time. And then in the gas station there was this tall man with beard with an AK-47 hanging on his shoulder. So the husband was able to fill up the tank, but before he gets out of the, before he goes inside the store to pay, the wife told him, "Give this to the man standing. Give this Bible to the man standing." Are you crazy? Why would I do that? Don't you see his face? Looks like a Taliban. Was it to get killed? Nevertheless, the wife gave him the Bible. The husband went inside the store, made his payment, and when he went out, the Bible was in his pocket. He did not give it to him. Let's say he's a Taliban. So while driving away from the gas station, the wife asked him, "Did you give the Bible to the man?" "Oh, I didn't. Don't want to die. Don't want to die." So while driving away from the gas station, the wife prayed, "God, I don't want that man's hand, that man's blood in my hands. Forgive me. But my husband did not give him the Bible. It's on his hands, not mine." That's how husband and wife fight, right? If you don't obey your wife, you fight. That's why I'm not a yes man. I tell my wife whenever she wants me, or whenever she wants me to do something, I proudly and loudly tell him no. No problem, my dear. So the husband made a U-turn, got back to the gas station, gave the money. After that, the man bumagsak, he fell, and helping him out. The husband helping the man. "Oh, what happened? What happened?" You know what the man said? "I am not from here, the Taliban. I am not from here. I came here on a 3-day walk from where I live. But God told me I had to come here because I will receive the book of life." That's a true story. Because I came here, God told me I will receive the book of life. Now here's my challenge to you. If you have not trusted, if you are not yet a believer, This is my challenge. When I tell a person, I love you, just for